After the visit of NATO Secretary-General Stoltenberg to Kyiv, it became clear that this was the last synchronization of clocks before the start of something large-scale. On Friday, the 11th Rammstein, a meeting of the World Government, a member of NATO, opened, and soon at the NATO summit in Vilnius, Ukraine is expected to officially invite to join the alliance. In the Kremlin, they rage and begin to iron the Belgrade Republic. An abnormal departure of public transport from the board of the rashest one appeared, peacefully bombing Ukraine, a clearly impressive slap in the residential quarter of Bela, conveying greetings to the city's public mothers from Voronezh's babies and Shoigu's deer. But the main problem is not even in the descent of a blessed bomb, but in the fact that there is nowhere to run. Soon such trips will spread. It is not for nothing that victorious events are being cancelled throughout the country, portraits of grandfathers being urgently removed from sticks. What the hell is health and good mood here, when it's about to begin, and it's not clear how to survive this? Elite collector also in a rumple. Putin signed a decree, according to the invitation of the governor of the Krasnoyarsk territory. Alexander USS was dismissed. Mikhail Kotyukov appeared in his place. From that appointment came the Kovalchuk brothers, who sacrificed control of education finances to radial control of the vulnerable industrial sector. But how much their cave assets will cost after something big starts, no one knows. The West, in extreme cases, is ready for any scenario, partly up to the government. Ukraine is also not afraid, because it is sure that the nuclear adventure takes on Putin and the entire Russian system with absolute collapse. In the State Duma, of course, desperate cries are heard that it is time to go to the benefit of the entire male population. But she has learned to hide and evade so well that, go and find him, catch him and drag him into the trenches. It's a whole process. The minced meat turnover has increased, and in such conditions it is necessary to adopt new laws and amendments that complicate the work of cave rooms. Another part of the elites is also not sitting idly by, but actively intends to seize power. Yulia Navalnaya and Maria Pevchik met with German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock, who stressed the support of the Navalny Agreement on behalf of the federal government. The meeting thought about launching a process to legitimize the good Russian opposition, which is currently actively seeking support in the West. The system pushes forward a column of good Russians who must convince the West of their ability to humanize the cave after the collapse of the fascist regime. The problem is that the West is ready to sympathize with the sufferers of the wickedness. Later, like Navalny or Kara Murtrava, the sister generally slapped a quarter for nothing, but the West is not ready to detain a person with a frankly Nazi past with a legitimate consciousness. This is like leprosy in world politics. This does not happen, and the world is clearly not ready to change the KGB fascist for a fake Nazi. It is this problem that now solves the system, bleaching the defendant and driving him through the purgatory of new suffering. Turboactive and the leader of the afterlife party of prisoners Prigozhin, having not found support from the Chinese and not having received shells and weapons from them, the bald devil secretly turned to Erdogan, offering him the support of his bot farm in the upcoming presidential elections, in exchange for militaristic buns. The ghoul is preparing for any turn of events, including the catastrophic one for Putin, who is already cancelling foreign visits for fear of being arrested on the basis of a Hague warrant. Apeshchka at this time is diligently dispersing fakes from Professor Nightingale about nervous breakdowns of the Commander-in-Chief through the yellow foreign press, entertaining the gallery with the fantasies of a bald special bird. But military correspondents and propagandists have a serious fear. The new recipients of busts from a certain citizen Belazarov are shaking their limbs. The clearly overexposed and burnt-out Krasovsky is asking to be buried in Kyiv. The terrorist Gherkin is doomedly croaking into the microphone. Health is shaking, mood is collapsing. In the European Union, within the framework of the 11th package of sanctions, it was proposed to disconnect Gazprombank from SWIFT, and at the G7 meeting it is planned to discuss the introduction of a total embargo on the supply of any goods to Russia, excluding the white list of essential products and medicines. And this is against the backdrop of a growing budget hole, which has already reached 5 trillion rubles. The cave is wrapped in a web of emergency from the inside before being covered with a copper basin from the outside. The level of fear froze at the limit, fixing the line of indifference between the terrible end and the prolongation of horror. But the prerequisites for resolving the situation have already been created. The gas filled the whole space. It remains to wait for a saving spark.